have breaking news out of the NFL. According to Adam Schefter, wide receiver DJ Moore is being traded to the Buffalo Bills. From Chicago to Buffalo, compensation still being discussed. The trade cannot be processed until the new league year begins. Josh Allen will get a new weapon. Stephen A., you have been calling for this. I'll discuss my Bears side of this in a minute. Go ahead, your reaction.
I wasn't calling for DJ Moore to be the receiver, but I will say this. He should be very, very fortunate because Caleb Williams is a rising star in this league as far as I'm concerned. And to depart from him to go to Josh Allen is a beautiful thing. That's not a bad thing at all. That's not a drop-off. That's number one. Number two, last year, DJ was targeted 140 times. This year, he was only targeted 85 times. Had 50 receptions, 682 yards, career lows. So going to Buffalo, where they clearly needed another receiver, he should be able to benefit from this move. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Buffalo. Now let's see what the Chicago Bears do in return for losing his services.
What I like about the trade and where DJ Moore fits in is he's a guy that can, yes, get down the field and make plays, but he's also a guy that has catch and run ability. So when you look at Josh Allen and Joe Brady in this offense and what they like to do, DJ Moore gives them another weapon on the outside that, yes, you can line up and send him deep on a post or whatever type of route that is. But there's also the screen game that Buffalo loves to run. Get the ball in his hands early and now let him do the damage. I think what that also does is it takes more pressure off of Josh Allen, where I felt like later on in the season, we saw that version of him feeling like he had to do so much. Getting a guy like DJ Moore with Shakir, he's another guy that does that well. That allows that part of it. We knew Brandon Beane was going to have to do something this offseason at the wide receiver position. To Stephen A's point, I don't think this is the same as an A.J. Brown type of guy on the outside, but I think DJ Moore walks in instantly the best wide receiver in their room and somebody that can help them on offense.
I like it, and I'm not surprised that this is where they landed. I actually felt like Mike Evans was the better choice for Buffalo. But being in Indy at the Combine, the conversations I was having was the Bills are don't feel any pressure to pull off that A.J. Brown trade, give up a lot of draft capital and picks and all that, which is what Howie Roseman wants for A.J. Brown, right? Yeah. They're looking at it like not just adding a weapon, but really how do you help Josh Allen fix the defense too? Look for the Bills to address their defense because they feel like their head coach, Joe Brady, told me another way of helping a quarterback is to get the opposing offense off the field, get the ball back to their quarterback, Josh Allen, so he has more bites at the apple in terms of scoring late in games.
I want to see what they gave up for DJ.
One of the things that I want to mention about DJ Moore as a very big positive, do you know that he has started all 17 games for the last 5 years? He hasn't missed a game. Huge. And in his 8-year career, he's only missed 5 games.
Yeah, he's durable. Listen, I will miss him in Chicago, but you have Rome Odunze, you have Luther Burden. We've seen now that Ben Johnson knows how to develop talent. He could do that maybe through the draft. And, hey, maybe we're clearing up some cap space, some money, getting some picks to go get.
You trying to get Shea?
Let's go get Max Crosby. Let's go get Max Crosby now in Chicago. Just wanted to get that out of the way.
I agree with that.
Right? This is the move, I think.
Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl MVP, and soon-to-be free agent Kenneth Walker III is about to get paid. The Seahawks chose not to place a franchise tag on the running back, so next week free agency awaits. In what's become a talent-filled free agency pool, Walker could be the one to set the tone for all the other running backs out there. And you see his production, easy to understand why. Over 1,300 scrimmage yards, 5.2 yards per touch this past season, third most rushing yards through 4 seasons in Seattle history, but they decided not to bring him back. And of course, won that Super Bowl MVP for the first time since Terrell Davis did it back in 1997. Our running back, Damien Harris, punching the clock with us now, the perfect hat to have the topic that we are going to discuss right now, the running backs in all the positions that you know and love, Dame. With you being a member of the fraternity of running backs, I know you want to see everyone get paid, but is it smart to give the big bag to Walker? He is only 25.
Well, Zach, I got to use two sides of my brain here. When I go with the former running back side, I say absolutely, because when you see what Kenneth Walker was able to do in the postseason without his sidekick and Zach Charbonnet, the way that he took over the running back room, the way that he completed their offense and took some of the pressure off of Sam Darnold's shoulders, on top of the fact of, like you said, he's young, he's 25 years old. The time that he split with Charbonnet, they took some tread off of his tires. So absolutely no question in my running back mind, yes, he should be paid. But then I think about it as an analyst. And guess who I think of? I think of a guy by the name of James Cook, who signed for over $40 million last offseason. And what did he do? He led the league in rushing. He was a Pro Bowler, All-Pro, et cetera, et cetera. But if you remember, in the game against the Broncos, whenever their season was on the line, what did the Buffalo Bills stop doing? They stopped letting James Cook, and they put the ball in the hands of their quarterback. I say all that to say, Zach, we know that this is a quarterback league. The game is played through the quarterback position. So if I'm a team who knows that I've got a good quarterback, and if we get to the playoffs, the game is going to flow through the arm of my quarterback, then of course I'm going to say, well, do I really need to pay Kenneth Walker that much? I appreciate his services. I appreciate what he can do. But in the words of a Pete Prisco, he could potentially be replaceable. I mean, I know we're going to talk about some guys that are coming out of the draft. There's a lot of talent at the running back position. So from a business standpoint, is it smart to pay a running back top dollar, especially considering whenever it's crunch time, it's all about the quarterback and the wide receivers? I would lean towards you be more fair instead of handsome in the amount that you would want to pay him.
Coming off a career year in terms of scrimmage yards, and that's the narrative being thrown out there, might be hard to really get paid, but whatever he does might set the tone for all the other running backs like Travis Etienne, who's also a free agent. How do you view his place on the market? What are the pros and cons to the situation that he has?
Well, I see him as being a guy that could garner a lot of attention. And because of the fact that he's a 3-down back, he had a lot of success in Jacksonville. He was a counterpart to Trevor Lawrence, and he helped him get out of certain situations. I think the pros are what he is able to do, how he can be used out of the backfield. He can pass pro, he can catch out of the backfield. He's explosive as a runner. Sometimes he was one of the only sparks for this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. The con is just the fact that he plays the running back position. I mean, what else can I say bad about this guy? He's a phenomenal player. He's smart, he's durable, he's dependable, he does not miss a lot of time. But again, he plays the running back position. And so when you have this kind of conversation, when you talk about running backs, you want to start with the cons. If you're a GM, if you're somebody that's handing out a lot of money, it's okay, well, yeah, he's had 3,000 yard seasons, but again, that's a lot of tread on the tires. Okay, well, how much are we going to be able to get out of him? Oh, by the way, again, if we have a really good quarterback and we have a solid wide receiver core, we know that when the game is on the line, that's where the ball is going to be placed. Those are pros. We can talk about how great of a player Etienne is until we're blue in the face, because he is a special type player and somebody that I think deserves to get paid, such as Kenneth Walker. But again, it's just the constant dings that come with playing the running back position. I mean, if you guys had Pete Prisco on here, he'd talk about it all day long. But those are the pros and cons for his situation, and really all running backs that are going through free agency. But, you know, as these GMs decide how they're going to disperse this money, these are things that come to their minds.
And he's coming off a career, a career year with 13 touchdowns as well, so he's certainly playing well. I don't know what that extra noise was. Is that
rude?
Is that my reverb?
He's mocking you.
I just had to clear my throat.
Somebody get my man some tea.
I was drinking it. We're back at it. Now we're good. You know, I'm back on the wagon, and I can circle it and ask you the next question, which gets you over to Rico Dowdle, who was huge for my Panthers this past season, but then he tailed off towards the end of the year, probably part of the reason why Carolina was comfortable with saying, hey, we can just ride with Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks and everyone else. Is it worth giving the big contract to Dowdle, seeing how good he was for a flash this season?
You know, this is a tough one, Zach, because as we know, whether it's football, signing contracts, getting extensions, getting paid, all of this, recency bias is a thing. What have you done for me lately? And like you alluded to, Rico Dowdle, through a stretch of the season, he was electric. He was magnifying. I remember he was lighting up the Cowboys for 200-plus yards. I mean, he was absolutely phenomenal. But then when you talk about towards the end of the season, yes, his production slipped, but let's mention this. This was when the Carolina Panthers were trying to win the division. This is when the Carolina Panthers were trying to move past the first round, move past the wild card, when they needed him the most to show up and be that spark for the offense, that's when his production started to drop. So in this situation, I have to side with what I saw towards the end of the season would give me concern to pay him top dollar, because as a running back at any position in the National Football League, you cannot be streaky. You have to be consistent, and that's what earns those top dollar paydays, is the consistency, not just the high level play, but doing it consistently year in and year out. And I just think with Rico Dowdle, we don't have a big enough sample size for me to be confident as a GM or somebody who's paying a lot of money to a running back. I don't have that confidence yet that he's worth that top dollar contract.
Looking for consistency, though, with that graphic we showed, he was consistent, almost exact same numbers last year with Carolina and the previous year with Dallas. So you have that to at least factor in when you talk about him. You mentioned the rookies coming up, and let's look at Jeremiah Love now, because how do you view it? With him coming up, with the free agents, do you try to, okay, let me trade up in the draft to get Jeremiah Love, or I'll just take one of these free agents? How do you do this?
You know, I'll tell you this much, Zach. I might not be a good GM. I might be a good GM. Who knows? Because I don't wear that hat. But I absolutely, unequivocally would try to move up in this draft to go get Jeremiah Love. If that's the comparison, it's either go up and try to get Jeremiah Love or try to get somebody out of this free agency class. I'm going to get Jeremiah Love, because what I see when I look at Jeremiah Love, when I watched his tape at Notre Dame, when I watched his combine performance, you know what I see? I see the impact that Bijan Robinson has with the Atlanta Falcons. I see the type of impact that Jahmyr Gibbs has with the Detroit Lions. Not just a special football player, but an instant highlight reel that can elevate your offense, that can elevate your team, bring a level of swagger, bring a level of toughness, because we saw Jeremiah Love play through injury trying to get to the national championship 2 years ago. We've seen his dependability on top of his highlight reel style plays. Like, this is a guy that it's hard, especially at the running back position, to say, okay, well, this guy is automatically going to translate to the next level. Jeremiah Love has every single tool in the toolbox: the size, the speed, the explosiveness, the elusiveness, the ability to catch out of the backfield with being able to play when he's not 100%. This is a guy that's going to have an instant impact in the National Football League. And again, I compare him to Bijan Robinson coming out. I compare Gibbs coming out. I expect him to have the same type of immediate and huge impact for an NFL team, the same way that those guys do.
Damian Harris, maybe the future GM, maybe the guy who just wants you to run the ball. We'll see how it all plays out. Thank you, Damian. Appreciate it as always. And of course,